My girlfriend got violated while trying to cheat on me with her best friend. Hi, welcome to my channel. Today, we've got a story from our /relationship_advice where Op's girlfriend got violated trying to cheat on Op with her best friend. Before we start, if you have any personal stories of how you got out of a toxic relationship with your cheating wife or girlfriend that you want to share, feel free to email them to me. Let's get started. Original story. I've been sitting here for like 15 minutes trying to figure out how to start this. My head is completely spinning, my thoughts are just all over the place. I guess with the backstory, I've been dating Sarah, not using real names, for just under 2 years now. She has a close friend John, who she's known since she was a child. I never liked him, he was always a little creepy, blatantly flirted with Sarah for the entirety of our relationship, and made occasional passes that I was not comfortable with. So cut to like 2 weeks back, Sarah and I were invited to a gathering/party by a mutual friend. I had a workshop for work that night so I couldn't attend, and with the current circumstances of COVID, I was never going to be inclined to go anyways. I didn't want Sarah to go either, but she was very adamant, and I guess I just didn't want an argument, so I said fine. We ended up running into John later that day, and he mentioned the same party and asked us if we had been invited as well. My girlfriend told him she was going but I wasn't, and he got this weird smile on his face and said something along the lines of, "Well, if you're going, I guess I have to go, as well." Just something about his smile and the way he said it rubbed me the wrong way, plus I didn't want to be possessive, but the idea of the both of them together all night at a party did not sit with me well. After we got back to our apartment, I told her, a bit more firmly this time, that I'm not comfortable with her going to the party, especially with him there. She told me I was overreacting and shut down the conversation at that. I'm sure most of you can figure out where this is going. I went to the workshop and she went to the party. It got to be like 2 a.m. and she hadn't gotten home nor was answering my calls. Naturally, I was incredibly worried. About an hour later, one of her friends called me and told me was found unconscious at the party and driven to the hospital. She was sexually assaulted by John. After spending 2 days, including that night at the hospital, and talking with the police, I took her home. She told me John drugged her and dragged her upstairs where it happened in one of the bedrooms. The house the party was at is very large. She was an absolute mess. She didn't want to go outside, she wasn't eating, had terrible nightmares. I did everything I could to comfort her through this process. I was devastated for her and hated to see her like this, but I know this makes me sound like a terrible person, and I don't blame her for John assaulting her, but I couldn't get the fact I tried more than once to dissuade her from going to the party, and specifically saying her being with John makes me uncomfortable, out of my head. I feel I could have done more to protect her and she should have listened to how I felt. Important side note, turns out John is literal living garbage. After her assault, we both felt it was best to get justice. There were drugs in her system and all the physical indications of sexual assault. We immediately filed a restraining order and the police opened an investigation. Within a week, after news had gotten around, 2 other girls came forward with a similar encounter with John, so the guy is a serial rapist. Cut to now, my girlfriend is still in no better shape than she was 2 weeks ago. She gets panic attacks out of nowhere. She's lost like 15 pounds and refuses to leave our apartment even to seek therapy. I was committed to taking care of her and being there for her, but I got a call from one of my close friends, Sam, this morning. It was a long conversation, but it boiled down to him as well as many others at the party that night who saw Sarah flirting with John the entire beginning of the party. According to him and the people he had been talking to, she was at the very least matching, if not being the initiator in these exchanges with John. He also recounts that she wasn't blackout drunk or seemingly that out of it, and worst of all, many saw her holding John's hand taking John upstairs. She was going to cheat on me with him? At this point I feel like I want to vomit. He told me he wanted the situation to cool down a bit before telling me, and was going to tell me after the party what happened, but with her being taken to the hospital under the circumstances, he didn't feel it was the right time. I decided to not assume anything and asked her about the specifics of what happened that night. She tried to tell me the same thing, that she was drugged and dragged to a bedroom, but when I told her what Sam had told me, the color completely drained from her face. She started to panic. I did my best to calm her down, but it was at least 30 minutes before she could catch her breath to speak. She was sobbing, but she was coherent enough to understand and confess to cheating on me. She said she was drunk and hadn't been out for so long, she wanted some adventure. She admitted she was the one that took John to the bedroom and wasn't dragged there against her will. She kept apologizing and saying it was a terrible mistake and that nothing else was a lie. He did sexually assault her. I believe the last part, as far as I can understand how it was when they were in the bedroom fooling around when he slipped something into here or something like that, then he forced himself on her. I don't know what to do anymore. She was sexually assaulted, but to me, Everything before that was her still intending to cheat, and actively cheating on me. I am devastated and I don't even want to look at her right now. I left the apartment and am currently at Sam's house. I don't know anything anymore. She lost her job to COVID, I pay rent for the apartment where her name isn't on the lease and groceries. She's become completely emotionally dependent on me the past few weeks. If I did break up with her she would have nowhere to go, and as much as I resent her I don't want something terrible happening to her. Please help, I need advice, I don't know what to do. Before we take a look at some replies by other Redditors, take a moment to like the video to show your support to the channel. Don't forget to leave your own opinion on the story in the comments down below. Now let's look at some comments. U/CrazyDizes wrote, "Wow, I think you need to step away from this relationship. At the very least she did lie and cheat on you, no matter how it ended, she did lie and cheat. I'm sorry for how it ended for her, and I'm sorry she got hurt. There is never an excuse for sexual assault on anyone, so I can't even imagine what she is going through. But, still, that isn't an excuse to cheat and lie though." U/NoFoInMergedy wrote, "I'd say break up with her. What happened to her was horrible, but you shouldn't date a cheater. Rather than dating her, maybe stay by her side as a friend, get her into therapy if she isn't already. But yeah, that's not a good relationship to keep going forward." U/Ruthless_Bunny wrote, "You don't have to stay. She can be with her family or a friend. It's terrible that she was sexually assaulted, but she also planned to cheat, and that's a good reason to break up. Sarah, I'm really upset that you cheated on me. Because of that, we need to break up. I'm not a counselor and the help you need is above my pay grade. I wish you well. Help her move back home or wherever she's going. You don't have to be mean and you don't have to stay with her." U/JuggernautKev53 wrote, "Let's go back to Creepy John for a second. This rapist plan of his that seems to be cyclical is pure evil. In all three cases, the girl is consenting to the point that he gets them alone. And then slips them ketamine to fulfill his most violent fantasies? That detail is so well thought out to the point that if he ever got caught, as he did, it would cast doubt in any jury and he could always get off in a court of law. What a despicable piece of trash. It's like he was a Law and Order character." U/the_last_Basilope wrote, "What happened to her is horrific and should never happen to anyone no matter what, but being sexually assaulted does not make her cheating actions before that somehow magically okay. Does she have family or a friend you could call to be with her? That would be best, but even if she doesn't you don't have to personally take care of her, you don't owe her anything. Give her a list of resources for sexual assault and trauma victims and tell her that you wish her the best but you can't be around her anymore." U/June_M wrote, "I think my opinion will be the second most unpopular opinion behind staying with her. Break up with her but let her stay at your apartment with you. She'll have to sleep on the couch and pay for rent and amenities. That's if I was in Op's position. I wouldn't have it in me to break up with her and kick her out then if she doesn't have anywhere else to go to. Also, since Op has been her emotional rock after a traumatic event, it could have serious ramifications to her health if he broke up with her and cut off contact. I know it's not up to him to be there for her and support her after what she plan to do. But after being with her for 2 years I wouldn't have it in me to watch her go through that alone. Don't get me wrong, I'm in full support of breaking up with her, but I'd still let her sleep on the couch and help her get past this trauma. But as soon as she's better and up, on her feet, bitch you gotta go." U/TacoEater1234 wrote, "I believe what you're saying, that she still was sexually assaulted even if there's lies mixed in, but if the police report said that she was dragged up there and sexually assaulted and that part isn't true, she needs to come forward to the police and tell them. And I think if she doesn't, you need to. I'm very sorry that you are in this messy situation, but right now someone is building a prosecution case against this John guy based on false information. If a prosecuting attorney goes into court and starts accusing him of dragging her up there and the defense cites witnesses saying she brought him upstairs, shouldn't be hard. Your friend Sam and others can corroborate that. Now the whole case against this guy looks suspicious. Honestly, even if she amends her story, it still looks bad if the charges have already been filed. In court, it will be easy to point to your GF story changing to reduce accusations. But it's still best to get that cleared up with the police ASAP to limit the damage she's making to the case against this guy. Unfortunately, many sexual assault cases come down to a strong case of he said/she said, and so the reliability of the accounts of the events is extremely important if you want to prosecute this guy. Finding out that even one claim was partially falsified is often enough to tank the whole prosecution. Depending on what the other accounts are like, It's even possible that he'll walk based on this alone if this discrepancy plays out in court and not before the case and charges are filed. In a morbid way, it's good that others have come forward about being sexually assaulted by this guy. If that wasn't there, now that you found that there are lies mixed in from your GF, you'd be forced to wonder if the whole sexual assault story is made up entirely. If others are accusing him of sexual assault, I think it's safe to trust your girlfriend that she was truly sexually assaulted, but I'm not sure that you should trust her on any of the details. As far as your actual question, unfortunately, it sounds like she initiated cheating on you. If that's what happened, she's a cheater. Maybe getting sexually assaulted as a result of that will scare her into never cheating on you again, but that's not a healthy reason for fidelity anyway. I'm not sure I have good advice on how to navigate this in the short term with the trauma she is experiencing, but I don't think you should stay with her in the long term. She cheated on you. You/Ran2Human8492 wrote. Sarah doesn't need a boyfriend right now, she needs her family. They might not be supportive in the way you want them to be or think they should be, but if they are concerned for her well-being, it is unlikely they will let her be homeless. Send her home. Even if it is with her tail between her legs. She's going to need a lot of therapy and to work through the trauma of what happened. You probably will too. You were also betrayed. It doesn't make what happened to her less awful, but it does make it such that you likely don't want a romantic relationship with her in the future and are now just with her out of pity for her trauma. But she doesn't need the pity of a boyfriend. She needs the support of her family and friends, and probably a lot of professional help. You're a good person for being concerned. Help make the transition smooth, be kind. Oh, and fuck John. Hope he rots. You/throwaway55555 wrote. Well, the good news is, if you stay I doubt she will cheat again, or try to cheat. She sounds immature to me, but you guys are in your 20s, so yeah. The bad news is if you stay, be ready for years of effects from this. She will not be the same or ready to have a physical relationship for a while. She will need a lot of emotional support, which with your resentment is probably not possible for you. The worst thing you can do is stay with her and make her healing worse by being passive-aggressive resentful. It will come out when you least expect it. She needs support you cannot give. Look into sexual assault services for women in the area. Help her set up some therapy and support. Then explain to her it's in her best interest that you distance yourself from the relationship. That you want her to get the help she needs, and what happened to her, despite her intentions in the beginning, was not her fault. That part will be hard for you, but it's the truth. Tell her the two are separate, but you can't ignore the first even though the second is so horrible, it doesn't cancel it out for you. That you're sorry and you wouldn't wish what happened to her to ever happen to anybody. It sounds like the relationship, aside from the sexual assault, had issues. You both deserve a fresh start. Hers will be a long road, but dating someone is probably the last thing she needs right now. You/KBear0620 wrote. My advice is she is probably scared, blaming herself, filled with regret and mental scars that she will most likely never fully heal from, but just because she was open to cheating does not mean she deserved that or to be shamed for being assaulted, and unfortunately, you're in a hard place where it's a thin line between her cheating and her assault. If I were in your position, I would tell her I'm going to be here to give you the support any victim deserves during this time. I'm not going to let anything happen to you while you're recovering, and I'm going to help you get through the hard part, but I want you to understand that I'm doing this as a friend. As far as our relationship, you've hurt me more than I can look past, I'm sorry, but after the choices you made before your assault, I can't stay in this relationship anymore. You care for her, but because she was assaulted does not mean you have to feel like this means you have to stay with her. Try to separate the events in your head. Process the cheating first. If you would stay in the relationship, then care for her as a partner. I would never. If you decide you are done, care for her as a friend. We all make bad choices, but that doesn't mean we don't deserve support when we can't stand on our own 2 feet. Whatever you decide, stick to it, and don't let her trauma be your deciding factor. I'm sorry there are such selfish and sick people in this world. You/Raytru wrote. The first thing I can suggest you is to take time. You are a loving and compassionate person who takes care of others even in the most complex or bad situations. This is truly beautiful from you. This kindness deserves as much love and trust in return you can have. I can't suggest to you what to do in your relationship. Nobody can. I can see from your lines that you love her and you want to find a solution, but you are fighting the rational evidence, and this makes you suffer a lot. The only real advice I can give you is to invest time in yourself. Get to know you, get the time to read, talk, explore your desires and wishes, connect with your body and listen to your emotions. This is a very bad situation. The problem lies in your reaction, not in her behavior. The question is, what do you want? If this kind of relationship is what you want, you can go ahead, fix this and heal your heart. The most important thing is not to lie to yourself in the process. What do you think about all of this? Do you have any advice for Op on how he should handle this situation? Also, do you think there's any hope left for this relationship? Let us know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this. Hit the notification bell to make sure you never miss an upload.